Hi friends, welcome to Only Green. The idea behind this channel is to create an awareness about the environment around us and the contributions that we all can make to make this a better world, a greener world for our future generations. Please do join us in our journey by subscribing to this channel and clicking on the bell icon for regular updates. Coming to today's video, when we think about our defense forces, be it of any country, the first thing that comes to our mind is in terms of protecting us against any internal issues, any natural calamities, and also any possible external intrusions. But the role that they play in protecting our environment is huge and worth understanding. Discipline in life and respect for nature make them adapt to the various extreme conditions that they are exposed to in their career. Today we have retired Commodore G Prakash, who has served Indian Navy for more than 3.5 decades, talking to us about defense forces and environment. He is specialized in the field of naval aviation and anti-submarine warfare. He has captained 3 warships and he has been the commander of 3 shore establishments of Indian Navy, including the INS Vendriti at Cochin, which is the biggest unit of Indian Navy. He is also the recipient of the prestigious Presidential Award, Nau Sena Medal in 2018. Let's hear from Commodore G Prakash on the commitment of the Defence Forces to environment. Over to you, sir.
Hello. As our world spirals into a vortex of troubles, with the pandemic, with power struggles, with climate change, need for environment protection, it's time we all acted. While we may not be able to do much about power struggles, there are some things we can do about pandemics. We can follow basic rules and ensure that we don't get into trouble ourselves. But when it comes to climate change and the protection of environment, there is much that everyone on this world can do. There are lots of pro-green voices rising in this world, and I'm so happy to see one more fresh voice rising in the form of Only Green. I lend all my support to them. Now, me and my dad, between us, have got about 74 years of service. He in the Air Force and me in the Navy. And with my son continuing the tradition in the Indian Navy, the bonds are very deep. And it is with this long association, the convictions coming out of it, that I'm going to speak to you. Now, anyone who enters a military area would have seen how everything is spick and span, looks very neat. You will find painted trees. We'll even see painted stones, which may look funny on the face of it. But there are very deep reasons for these things to manifest. And that comes from our prolonged association with terrain and with weather. Whether it's the icy wastes of the Siachen Glacier or the difficult mountains from the Indo-Pakistan border all the way up to the northeast, or the thick jungles in many of those places, or the searing deserts of Rajasthan, or the vast oceans around us. Oceans which one moment can be calm, serene and inviting, and can be furious and very violent the very next moment. When you are exposed to these elements for a long time, you learn to respect them because you realize that you have no option but to align with them, use them in your favor and not to fight them. You picture this. We don't need an enemy to remind us of the power of nature. On the icy wastes in the high mountains and in the extreme cold there and the lack of oxygen, you can get killed if you aren't intelligent and careful, if you don't respect these conditions. When a submarine that's dived needs to overcome gravity to come up to safety, and an aircraft flying over the sea needs to fight the same gravity to stay up there and be safe. Even the mightiest ship in the world is just a toy in the big oceans. They get tossed around like toys. And if you have not prepared the ship properly for sea, you would find objects inside flying like missiles. I have seen flying refrigerators and flying water coolers which can kill. Now, when you are exposed to these things for such a prolonged time, you tend to develop a deep understanding and deep respect for the raw power of nature. Now, in my long service, I have seen the waters from South Africa all the way to the South China Sea and parts of the Mediterranean. I have seen personally the steadily increasing amount of garbage, plastics that litter the oceans. When it comes to this, there are many parts of the oceans that I have not seen. And here we have the words of Commander Abhilash Tommy, who went around the world twice, unassisted, non-stop. Between the two trips of his, he reports the massive amount of plastic increase that he found below 40 degrees south, where normally man doesn't go. There was a time when I joined, say 4 decades ago, that we could see tens of kilometers at sea. There was such clear visibility. Today that isn't the same, especially when you come close to harbors. Now, with this manifestations of changing climate and deteriorating surroundings, which when you're seeing it all this time for so long, you tend to start understanding it and imbibing it. Now, this is how it reflects back onto our community. Our communities, mostly in cantonments, are the largest communities wherever they are. But they're quite homogeneous because of their shared experiences and their shared past. Now let us take Kochi. The community at Kochi, all put in, is about 30,000 people. Now this community does not add to any troubles to the troubles outside. And in fact, they support other communities around them. For instance, all the useful food waste goes to animal farms in various parts of Kerala, and the rest get converted into manure. Most of Naval Base stands on the Wellington Island, which is a man-made island. So large trees have a tendency to fall beyond a certain stage of growth when their roots can't hold on to land anymore. Every tree that falls is replaced by 10 times the number of trees. All other materials are beautifully segregated and disposed of in the prescribed manner. That community does not create troubles for any more community. Now in this community, what happens is that everyone who joins from the time they join in uniform, or every spouse that comes in marriage to the community, and all children from the time they're born, they watch a system that silently and efficiently follows rules and regulations and leads a very responsible, orderly life. Now that is something which they imbibe, and in turn the armed forces actually produce a huge group of people who will go back into the communities and spread the green word. So, what are the takeaways? The first thing is that nothing is possible without discipline. There have to be rules and regulations, but even if they are there, if there is no discipline, it is not going to work. With our long association, understanding of the elements, powers of God, powers of nature, we tend to respect them, align with them, and stop fighting with them. It's also a time we thought redefined what is development and adopted whatever is sustainable and useful to man. Once again, before I end, I would like to wish Only Green the very best in their endeavors and thank them for having given me this opportunity to talk about environment protection, climate change, and the association of the armed forces with this. Thank you.